Hello again, welcome to the Headless Unboxing channel. I'm not showing my face today because I look like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I've got teenage spots. A little bit late for them, but I've got them. Anyway, this is another visitor from the good old US of A. And it's been packed in some lovely McDonald's. We have McDonald's in the UK. Unfortunately. Anyway, this is being packed in salt the fries, French fried potatoes. What else has it been packed in? Uncooked breaded chicken tenders. And it's from, yes, it is from McDonald's. I can see the M. Right then. Another concept one. Let's hope this one works. Well, I've got my magic box set up behind me. Oh, hello. Hello, Willow. This is Willow. Right, I'll just quickly show you Willow because she doesn't appear often. This is Willow. Willow the red dachshund. We're just looking after Willow. And this one is called Lottie. Oh, Lottie. Oh. Right, Willow and Lottie, you have to get used to this, me opening vacuums. Daisy and Molly are on the sofa at the moment. Okay, that's enough. Right, let's open this box. Doesn't seem that well packed, but hopefully it's a concept one. They were built pretty solid, weren't they? So anyway, I got this much cheaper than the first one that arrived with faults. It looks in very good condition. Well, it did from the pictures. Absolutely no packaging whatsoever to protect it, just basically put in a box. It does seem quite clean. Hang on. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Wow, that's probably the quickest unboxing I've ever done. And look, it's completely empty. No need for any of those packaging peanuts. In fact, I might climb in there and have a little game. Make a little fort out of that later, because I'm sad. Right. Yes, apart from some dirt. Oh, they haven't sent me a bag, so... Whoops, what was that? Oh, it's okay. Right, they haven't sent me a bag. It all, first impressions, looks reasonable. Now this doesn't have a cord rewind, this particular one. So if I do have to replace the cord, well, the cord looks fine on this. It certainly looks in better condition than the first concept one. Right, let's have a closer look. Oh dear. One speaks too soon. Yeah. Oh, you see that? Yeah, I make the mistake of thinking that's fine, and then I realise it's not so fine. This is why, folks, you need to put packaging round. It's all bent out of shape, that axle. Now, what I can do, because I have another concept one that doesn't work at the moment, although it's a slightly more deluxe version, I could take out that. If I can get one of those, I'll try and get one of those. It's the rear wheel axle that's bent, or it could be that something's bent anyway, as always on this channel. But yeah, I might be able to hammer it back into shape or something, or we'll see. If this works fine, I might use the one for my other one, but we'll have to see. Right, let's give this a closer look. Well, apart from the bent axle, there's a few little sort of scratches around the side. They're not too deep, and a few marks, but I think they'll come off. All in all, it's not bad at all. That's just the worst thing about it. I might be able to see it a bit clearer at this level. I should be able to bend that. I don't have a vise, unfortunately. I don't have a tool shed or anywhere in my garage for a vise, but I do have a Black & Decker workbench. So it's possible I'll be able to shove it in there and just slightly bend it back into shape. Let's have a look underneath. So here we have the Quadraflex agitator. There's a bit of dust here, but it's not massively terrible. That agitator is in pretty good condition, actually. The paintwork on it is fine. Let's have a look. I don't know what all this stuff is. Let's have a look inside. Oops. Oh no. Right. It is missing one of the belts, but fortunately I think I do have some spare belts. I have some spare agitator belts. You see, it's completely gone. There's one. That's possibly why it was up for sale. I don't know. Decided, oh, it's not working. But this belt isn't even in here. If it had snapped, you'd think it might be inside this cavity here, but it's not. The power drive belt is there. It's hard for you to... There we are. Can you see that a bit better? So here is the motor shaft. You can just about see there. And this belt here, as I say, it's pretty loose. It might work. That drives the self-propelled mechanism, hopefully. But I need a longer belt to drive the agitator as well. So I do have some upstairs, so that's fortunate. This machine could prove useful for diagnosing the faulty one as well. I'd like them both to work, to be honest. But, you know, it's not too bad. Doesn't seem blocked up at all. I don't know what this sort of white powdery stuff is. I hope it's nothing illegal, but if it was, I think it would have been impounded. The sniffer dogs. Well, talking of sniffer dogs, Willow seems to be having a sniff. Oh, she's gone. She's had a sniff and she wasn't interested. So, but all in all, I think it's in good shape. Apart, yes, it's just this. I mean, it'll still push with the wheel skew if like that, but I'm not going to worry about that as long as it works, which is more than the other one did. I'll just pop the base plate back on and show you around the cleaner, and then I'll nip upstairs and get the belt before... Oh, what am I doing? It's not... I'm going to have to move it back a bit before I plug it in and... What am I doing wrong, folks? Doesn't seem to... Oh, there we go. That's it. There we are. Yes, I was advised. There are screw threads here and here, but I've been advised from my previous Concept 1 video that they wouldn't have had screws in. I'm pretty sure the UK versions we got, they were made in the USA, imported to the UK, they did have screws, but I expect that was part of the British standards or something. You'd have to undo it with screws to get to the moving parts. Okay, well, while we're in this vicinity, let's have a look at the rating plate. So it's Hoover cleaner model U3335. I'm sure this is one of the models I had a brochure on, or at least an A4 leaflet. Yeah, I'm sure it did look familiar when I saw it on eBay. So it's 120 volts, of course, 60 hertz, 7.2 amps. It takes bag type A, and it's also got the number for the agitator belt and the drive belt. So can we date this, folks? I'm saying it's from the 80s, I would say. 059000210 for household use only, made in the USA. So here's the cleaner head. This metal strap controls the power drive mechanism. It's connected up to the handle, so when you pull on the handle it switches the power drive into reverse, and when you push on the handle it obviously switches it forward. That seems okay. There will be at least one, possibly two headlight bulbs in here. I think it takes two, and I'd be very surprised if they're working. And here we have, now I have to be careful Where it says Hoover Heavy Duty on here, for some reason it's printed with something different, because on the other power drive, the Concept 1 power drive I unboxed earlier on my channel, that was a bit worn down, and when I wiped it over it completely came off, but it looked better not having it. But I'm sure that would easily wipe off, but that's intact, so I'll have to be very careful when I'm wiping this down just to avoid wiping that printing off. The other printing for some reason is different. That won't wipe off, but anyway, it's Hoover Heavy Duty Power Drive and Quadraflex Agitator, and we've got your 3-position height control, low, medium, and in low medium I think it sort of floats, but when you put it into plush then it sort of stays in that setting. And then of course we've got the shag setting for use on very long pile carpets, which was the fashion at some point. I think shag started becoming fashionable in the 70s. It must have carried through into the 80s, but obviously even if this is an 80s vacuum, people would have still had carpets from the 70s and possibly shag piles, so obviously Hoover made sure that they could clean them with this Concept 1. On automatic cord rewind models, obviously this piece here would be open and this is where the cable would come out, and the cord reel is housed, or would be housed, inside this section here. But this is obviously a lower model, so they've done away with the cord rewind. I'm just thinking, apart from that, is there any difference? I think that's the main difference between this Concept 1 and the one I opened earlier on my channel. It's just this has no automatic cord rewind. I can't see anything else it's lacking. Ah, yes, there is one thing that it's lacking. At the top, the sort of maroon and beige colour one I opened did have an air freshener at the top of the bag. So this seems to be the same, apart from no air freshener and no automatic cord rewind. So you can see here there's 2 hooks, one metal hook and for some reason one plastic hook. So there's a metal hook at the bottom and a plastic at the top. I'm glad to say that neither hook is broken. I'd be surprised if the metal one had broken, but the plastic ones can often split with use. And I've just noticed, I didn't think it did, but this does turn down. There is a little arrow on the top. Oh, there we go. So it's got the quick release cord. And let's have a look at the cord, because that was a problem with the other one. I'm not sure, it looks like it's original, it might not be, but it is a ribbed cord that most of the Hoovers I've unboxed from the USA have got this ribbed cord. It's pretty clean for a cord, isn't it? So it does look in pretty good condition, all told. Doesn't have a bag in because I checked earlier. But the bag seems fine. Again, it's a fabric bag instead of one of the plasticized ones. Some of them had a sort of wipe clean plastic finish, but this one is still the cloth one. It's all pretty clean in there. Oh, that's loose for some reason. That's the fill tube. So that just needs pushing back into place and clicking into the back. I can do it without, hang on. That's one in. There we go, that's in. Right, I've got a fleece bag. It's not a genuine Hoover one, but it will fit. It's one of the For Your Home bags that are much too big for the cleaners, but they are designed to fit them. So it'll give me possibly improved airflow using one of those. I'll just pop the bag in. Just push it over the collar until it passes the ridges. That's a nice tight fit. As I say, it's much too wide for this cleaner, this bag, but I'll just fold it in. They are an improvement, these For Your Home bags. They do them for several British Hoovers as well. The Turbo Powers, Turbo Masters, etc. And the newer type seniors that use this type of bag collar. And they do tend to, they seem to increase the airflow. Although that is a lot wider, it is the right length for this cleaner, so it does fit nicely. And nothing wrong with that zip. Here's the handle, it seems in one piece. I do believe some people used to break these by lifting them up from the handle, and it's something I've almost done with my other Concept 1 when I've gone to move it. I've almost lifted it from this. I think no, it's not designed to be lifted from this handle. This handle does move up and down. You lift it from this, you will soon break it, so you just have to remember to lift it from just below the handle. This one does seem a little bit better somehow. This power drive off control, it's in the off position, so I can move it. So that disengages the power head, the power drive function. But if I was to turn it on, then it makes the handle go up and down. So in this position, the handle is locked. So when you turn the drive control to on, it will move up and down. And in turn, if it works, it should, as I pull on the handle, the power drive should go into reverse, and as I push on it, it should drive it forward. I was told in the comments of my previous one, which I did find after a bit of fiddling about, I was having trouble turning the power drive off, and a few people told me you have to sort of move the handle into about the mid position, which is what I've just done there, so then I can lock it. And we've just got regular on-off. That switch does seem better. I think I need a new switch, possibly, or a new cable as well with that. Well, I certainly need a new cable. I might need a new switch. This switch does seem a lot better. So you've got regular off and on, and then for boost you've got the power surge, but you have to keep your thumb on that while it's in power surge, because when you release your thumb it goes back onto the regular setting. Well, there's not much more I can show you apart from, of course, fitting a new agitator belt and plugging it in, and fingers crossed we'll be able to see this one working. These are the agitator belts I got from eBay UK. I didn't have to get them from America. They're not the genuine ones, but they should fit. They do fit all Hoover concept ones, so obviously we did have the concept one in this country. It didn't last long. And spares are very hard to find, especially the brushes. I think that's the case in the USA as well. Now these are quite old. I'm sure actually I've got a belt somewhere that's very like this, that was a genuine one. Now I'm not sure how long this is going to last. It's got a little bit of a white, well, bloom. You'd say that if it was chocolate, so I don't know what you'd call that. Some sort of a white residue. But that should fit fine. Now I have got some other belts here. I don't know what these, I got these from eBay. Oh, it says now, I think these won't fit. These are for wind tunnel, self-propelled and bagless, it says. So I think these ones are for the newer wind tunnels. Oh yes, they're no good, are they? No, they're totally wrong for this. But if I ever get myself a newer wind tunnel, self-propelled, I've got some spare belts. So anyway, put those back in there. Hopefully the belt, the power drive belt, will be enough just to give a brief demo. So I think first of all I need to put it over the spindle at the back. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a pull to get that on. I'm going to have to reposition myself behind the camera so I can have the leverage to pull that, because that's going to be quite tight. Right, so the belt's around the spindle. Now pop it around the agitator. Now there's no shape on here. Sometimes you'd have a shape, maybe a circle or an oblong, that you have to get it into the right area on the housing. On the other side though, it does have a circle, so we know which way, it's obvious which way it goes in, because obviously that's where the belt goes. So I've got to now use probably quite a bit of strength to pull that forward. Oh yes. Now let me just check. Well, these are for the Hoover concept, and the concepts we got in the UK were no different really, apart from obviously they used 240 volts. This is going to be tricky, methinks. Right, I've got it in one side. There we are. Phew. Right, let's just turn it, make sure it's on properly. Yep, that seems fine. That's very tight. it should have a good amount of agitation with that new belt on. So let's pop the belt guard. Okay, now then, if this works, I think, apart from the bent axle, I'll be pretty pleased. There we are. Yeah, it's whether the power drive works as well, you see. There we are. Okay, we're ready for plugging in and switching on. I'm always a little bit anxious when plugging in an American vacuum cleaner, especially a used one. Even more anxious than I can be plugging in a British one. But I've got my special box. It has a cutout if anything should go wrong. Anyway, it's on at the cleaner. All I have to do, it's plugged into the box. The box is on. All I've got to do now is flick the switch and see if it works. Right, it seemed to, but then I thought I saw a spark coming out of the bag. I probably didn't, but I better do it once more. That's quite noisy, but I think that sounds okay. If you comment below, does that sound like a concept should sound? I can't remember. It's in the upright position, obviously. It'll sound different. It doesn't smell, I mean it's got a musty odour, but it doesn't smell of burning. Right, I'm going to switch it off at the switch on the cleaner. Let's switch it back on at the wall. Right, I'm not going to get shock off that. Okay, it's time now. I'm first of all going to try it without the power drive on, so the drive control is off. Hang on, I've still got it in shag. I have no shag here. I need to put it in low to medium. Right, here goes, folks. Yes, definitely. I think it's fine. Just needs a new belt. It did sort of, it seems to be a bit erratic in its driving. It sort of seemed to move forward quite quick, but when pulling back it was a bit slower. But yes, I'm sure you'll agree with me. A new belt is all this cleaner needs. Right, well, might as well put some dirt down. It's got a good lot of agitation, hasn't it? Did you see that? I'll do some more close-ups. But yeah, I could certainly see the dirt agitating either side of the cleaner. Especially there's some of this red gritty sand in here. I could see that bouncing about. It's not a complete clean sweep, is it? But that ain't bad, is it? I mean, this vacuum, well, let me see. When would it have been? Even if it was sort of late 80s. Is it 80, 90, 30 odd years? Am I correct in that? So it could be over 30 years old, this vacuum cleaner. And once it's got a new power drive belt, it'll be almost as good as new. And once it's had a bit of spit and polish. Okay, let's clean this other path up. Well, I'm really pleased with this Hoover Concept 1. It is an absolute beast. It's noisy, but it shakes the heck out of the carpet. And I think, some of you may disagree or agree, I think this could give a Kirby a run for its money. I mean, I was standing, when it was driving on its own in the upright position, I was nearly 2 feet away from it and I could feel the agitation on the carpet. Wow. Now this could turn out to be a cleaner I use before I shampoo my carpets, because I think it's going to get as much dirt out as possible before I shampoo.